Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So I do apologize in the fact that you are not seeing me on camera. I woke up this morning with the worst eye infection and I just look like I've been smacked in the eyes. I promise you I haven't, but I just didn't want to come on camera looking like something very scary. So today is going to be the part two of the Angela Levin interview. Thank you so much for everyone who's given me so much love and support in the first one. And not only that, I had some amazing feedback for Angela. I'm sure that if she read the comments, she'd be so chuffed by all of the love and support that she's received from you all. So instead of me waffling on, I'm going to do the grab your drink of choice, the next one, and I'm just going to go straight into the part two of the video with Angela Levin. So, and then I'm going to do a little bit of a chat afterwards to sort of give my conclusions on everything. So yeah, so here it is. I'll see you soon.
Hello, Bubble family. Sit back, relax, take a little drink. We're having a sneaky chai latte. And Snowy says you can add a little something to it because it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
In one of the conversations that we had before, you said that he said William was the one he could trust.
Yes, I was going to say that again. Yes, he said to me that William is, when they were sharing, they were both learning how to fly a helicopter at the same place, and they shared the cottage, which they'd never done before. And so they were with together. They had to wash up. They had to, dry out who was doing what. But he said that he was very, very close to William, and he could say anything to him, and they understood each other. Although they were different personalities, they really understood each other, and because they have a very strange upbringing, and it was, some, obviously, unfortunately, several children lose their mother when they're still children, but not many of them have to walk behind the coffin, nor do millions of people watch them all around the world. And it's very sad for both of them that they've missed that now. And William has been furious with him, particularly about his comments about Catherine. But I understand that completely, because if it's about you, you can take it in up to a certain extent. But if it's about the person you love, who has given up a lot and worked incredibly hard and been a wonderful mother and princess and devoted to the royal family, you want to protect them, and you don't want them to suffer that and not to be able to answer. And I wonder whether Harry knew that and wanted to hurt William the most.
There does seem an element where he wants, as someone that does understand, it's like, to me, it's almost like an acting out, like, I feel hurt, so I want to hurt my brother. And I'm just saying that as what I garnered in my sort of nearly 20 years experience. And that does seem a real shame, because they did seem incredibly close. Do you feel, honestly, that there is, I know that King Charles, he loves Harry, obviously. Do you think with William there's ever a chance that he would make up with his brother?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know what William's thinking. But at the moment, he doesn't want to have anything to do with him.
Understandably so. I think there'd be many people that would think the same thing. One of the other things I also wanted to quickly ask you is, how, with the children not coming over here, what do you think, what effect that must have on the royal family, and kind of things that you sort of heard, or you've sort of seen yourself? Because that must be pretty difficult, in being King Charles as a grandparent and he's never seen Lily, and I think even the late Queen didn't either. So that must be very challenging for the royal family in having a sort of extended family they don't see.
I obviously it is. King Charles would love to see them. But it's a bit of one of these things, unless you give me this, you are not going to see my children. Unless I'm given protection 24/7, I'm not bringing them over because I don't feel it's safe. And I think that by now, they're just getting on with their own thing. You can't keep going on and saying, please come with them, please come with them. But nobody really sees them. And so there's lots of questions being asked, but they're not seen and they're not shown off, which is even more interesting. And I think they're used to now moving on with their lives, and they can't keep on stopping to ask Harry to come, because it means only it's a bargaining tool, which is rather unpleasant to do.
You said before that Harry's been quite demanding, and I think one of the things you mentioned in the last conversation that we had is when he came over for the Invictus recently, that he were there some demands?
Well, it's very interesting. When he came over, whenever he's come over to the UK to see his father, he's the one that says when he's coming. He's the one who wants to decide where it is. He's the one who wants to decide who is there and who is not. And it has been up to a certain extent, I don't know if he's still doing it now, wanting all the apologies. So to have to take that in when you're king, or when you're nearly king, I mean, you're very busy, you have a lot to do, you have responsible for millions of people around the world, and you can't keep having this moaning, groaning son attacking him. But he was definitely offered a room at one of the palaces by the king's aides. He took it initially and then changed his mind and said no. But there's also the feeling that he didn't actually ask to see his father properly, and he didn't invite his father to be at St. Paul's Cathedral to celebrate 10 years of the Invictus Games. But one of the aides said, the king was too busy, had no time to see him. So it's a way of changing what the question is, or the answer is. And if you think that the king has only just been allowed to get out of the palaces, really, to go to engagements for the last couple of weeks, and he was going to the garden party where there was 8,000 people, and the king likes to actually talk to as many. I went to Buckingham Palace when he was seeing 350 NHS workers, and he insisted on seeing everyone, having a conversation, not for a desperately long time, having a conversation, hearing what they're doing, wishing them well. And that's what he felt he would do. Well, it obviously can't get around 8,000 people, but he obviously wanted to do as many as possible. It was bound to be exhausting. Talking is exhausting. And after that, he was having his regular meeting with the Prime Minister. So he would have to do that. And there were another couple of things that appeared, apparently been booked for a long time. Boris Beckham and other people. And, he was going to be exhausted. He couldn't change everything just to suit Harry that day. And I've always felt if Harry had said, let's try and get over this problem that we have between us. Tell me when it suits you for me to come over, when you will have a bit of time so that we can talk it over 2 or 3 days. You can't sort something else like that in 10, 15 minutes. You need time, and you need kindness, and you need a willingness to happen. I think he felt a willingness to win, but that's not going to be very helpful to him. And so it's stopped. But the king has got more than enough to do, really, now, looking after himself as well as trying to keep up as many of the engagements in the important days of the rest of the year.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. So just also the recent picture of the king Do you have any thoughts on that? I actually quite like it. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be completely honest.
Is this the painting?
Yes, I actually like it.
I love it.
Mm.
I absolutely love the painting. I thought that his face has been brilliantly painted. You can see so many of his characteristics in his face. You know, the saddest ones, the careful ones, the joyful ones, the humanitarian ones. It's all there in that face. Absolutely brilliant. And I like the butterfly on his shoulder. That is often something of, say, you're a parent or member of the family is looking over you, but it's also something about the garden and all that he loves, the outdoors. And I love the red. It's okay. There is difficulty at the moment, and it's very hard. But his uniform of the Welsh Guards, which is red in colour, is still there, and he's still wearing it, and he's standing strong with all his medals, and it's terrific, I think.
I agree, and I completely second everything that you've just said. For me, it was strength, and I think that's something that I took. But what I love about art is that it's so subjective and it creates conversation. You know, if you take away the trolling aspect of things, art is so subjective to interpretation that it opens up such a dialogue. And I think that that's what this painting has created. Whether you are for it or against it, it's opened up a conversation. And I think, but for me, I thought there were such little nuances within the painting that were very cleverly done. But I think, like you say, it shows his all of his characteristics, because we're multifaceted. You know, there's so much of you know, we play all these different roles in a sense, and I thought that encapsulated that brilliantly. So I would agree with that completely.
Yes, it's the first painting after he became king. It's gone on for quite some time. He's only had 4 sittings, and it's just been a long time to get it out. But I think it's stunning.
Yeah, I absolutely would agree. And one of the other things also I wanted to ask you is, how are you? Because I mean, sometimes when you do these interviews, it's all about the royal family and it's all about other people, but you must have had your own feelings in regards to everything that's happened with Harry and the Meghan stuff, and obviously you witnessed yourself, I guess, things that are said about you in regards to anyone with an online presence has that. I've had that myself. But how are you in all of this?
I'm all right. I've been a journalist for a long time, and I do my job, and I have my thoughts, and that's it. Some people don't like me. That's all right. That's fine. And some people do. That's also fine. I wouldn't be able to. I mean, it's up to them. I am me, and if they don't like it, not much I can do about it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty healthy outlook, and in pretty much exactly the same way that I am. So so I just want to ask you, when you all of this stuff come out in regards to Harry, because obviously you had that personal insight into him, and you obviously got quite close to him when you were with him. Is it 15 months? You started to hear all these kind of stories coming out in how he was really feeling, going against what he was saying in that 15 months and what you've known him to be.
Well, I just absorbed it. This was a story that had more chapters. You have to be sort of basic and take it as it is and write what you feel is the right thing to do and talk about what the right things, to do. It's my job, really. So that's what I work to. Let me just tell you, this is quite interesting, that the first time I met him in the palace, Kensington Palace, which was a good 9-10 months after I'd been going round with him on these engagements. And it came about because they suddenly had a phone call, and they said, if you're free tomorrow afternoon, His Royal Highness will see you. And I've been trying to get him for all those months on his own. And they said, you can be there for 10 minutes. And my heart fell, because you can't actually get enough out of somebody in 10 minutes. It's very difficult. And I thought, should I say no? Should I say yes? I decided to say yes. And I thought to myself, if I think of a really good question, opening question, I might keep him for a bit longer. So I went to the palace, and I know from experience that Harry would always have a joke to say whenever he arrived anywhere. And I thought he would possibly have a joke to me. And he did. He asked me if I'd seen Netflix and The Crown. This was the second installment. And I hadn't, because I hadn't got it, because I wasn't interested in that sort of film. And he said, well, you've got to get it. You really must, because it's, you know, it's amazing, but I'm not going to let them show me. So I said, oh, fine. So we then sat down, and I said to him, he said, well, what's the question? And I said, well, actually, I want to ask you that when you go and see these mentally damaged soldiers, does it help you with your own difficulties, with your own mental health? Now, that wasn't so much spoken about then as it has been. And I thought, I'm either going to get thrown out, or it will be a very good conversation. And I waited. It must have felt like about several hours, but it was maybe a few minutes. And he said, actually, you're absolutely right. So I said, I thought so. And from there on, we had a very good conversation, very good. It wasn't about the sunshine and where I'd come from and all those useless things if you're writing a book. And he was very honest. And then suddenly he stopped, and I could see he didn't want to speak. So I just waited silently there, wondering what it was. And he then said to me, isn't it terrible what happened to me? It should never have happened to William or me, that we should have walked behind my mother's coffin. Yeah, it was completely wrong that William and I should walk behind our mother's coffin. It was absolutely appalling. And that went absolutely zooming around the world when it came out, because he'd never spoken about that before. And I felt it was really interesting that he felt that that's what he wanted to tell me.
That's deeply sad, I feel, because at the time when you're young, you perhaps feel that you don't have a voice, or you're not able to articulate, and you've got adults making decisions for you. And in that respect, I do feel for him, because to have the eyes of the world, I mean, it's to feel that you can't cry, perhaps, or you've got to be strong in the eyes of the world, because that's who we're watching, let's be honest, must have been devastating for both of them. And I can
He said to me that he saw everybody crying, and he hated it because they were crying about his mother, and it wasn't theirs, it was his. And he said, I decided I would never cry. And he stopped crying for years. He wouldn't let himself cry. Now you can imagine what that's like inside you.
Yeah.
Very sad. That is very sad.
And I wonder if that's where a lot of this has come from. It seems to me that it probably is one of the biggest things. It's not just losing his mother, but then the after effects that have come from that. And I do feel, if I'm honest, the saddest thing is William found support in having Catherine and finding the right person to be by his side. He took the time to get to know her, to make sure that she was ready for what was to come. And the unfortunate thing I see with Harry is that I believe that he was possibly so desperate to have what William has got in finding the right person, that he jumped into something possibly too quickly, because I think that's what he's, from what I can glean from knowing what I know, is that that's possibly what he's always been searching for. And it's just gone from there to this.
Yes, well, I think Catherine has shown William, and the Middletons have shown William what an ordinary family is like, and shown him He's learned how to be a husband, what's expected, and also how to be a father. Don't forget, if you are, a member of the royal family like that, especially one that was so messed up that he wouldn't have seen that. And I think she's done a brilliant job. He's got that security and knows he can trust her. Whereas with Meghan, there are many things. But one is that she's got to win. She's got to be ahead. She's got to get what she wants.
Yeah.
But if he loves her, he loves her. It's up to him.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? You can't pick and, it is what it is, isn't it? Love just happens. I'm assuming we're nearly up to time for you
Yeah,
now.
I've got to. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, just thank you so much, Angela. It's been a real pleasure.
It's very nice to talk to you. Very nice to talk to you.
And I
it's
hope
interesting that we agree so much, actually.
Yeah, we're like-minded, which is always a handy thing to be when you're having conversations with people. But thank you, it's been a real pleasure, and I know that my subscribers are going to be over the moon when they see this. So
well done you.
Well, I hope I get to chat to you again sometime, and
of course.
and I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're doing. So thank you so much. And I have recorded this. Yes, I have. I literally just had to check that. I was like, oh, no, I have. It's been recorded. Like I say, if you want me to send you that, I absolutely can before it goes live on my channel.
No, I think you're not going to try and cut it. No. Okay.
No, not at all. Thank you very much. Anyway,
bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye. So there you go, guys. That is my interview with Angela Levin.
So again, you're just getting my voice, but I just want to do a little recap. So one of the things I wanted to ask was about the children. Now, obviously, we've had conversations outside of recording, but I wanted to be very respectful to Angela because I know that she has a job to do and she can't say anything that might go against her. And I certainly don't want to trip her up. But I wanted to ask a question. So I thought if I worded it in a way where I stated that the late Queen and the King haven't seen the children, I believe that if they'd come for the Jubilee, she would have said, well, don't forget they were here for the Jubilee. But she didn't. And in fact, she confirmed that they haven't seen the children. So I think that in a way is proof that even though we knew about the lie in regarding to the Jubilee, but I do believe that with the media, this really does show you how much the media are playing this game, because they created us to believe that they were over here at Frogmore and that Lily was over here. And if you remember, I said way back when it was going on, if they were here, we would have seen those children at the window, and we didn't. So this whole thing of her being at Frogmore, having Lily's first birthday, Miss Anne Harriman being in on it, it's all a lie, because I believe with Angela knowing what she knows, she would have said, well, don't forget the late Queen saw her at the Jubilee. She had the photograph, or King Charles has seen them on video chat or anything like that. Nothing. And she even confirms that nobody sees the children, which is very odd. So I believe that is proof within itself. The other thing I also want to mention is, before anyone jumps on me regarding the painting, I understand that it's controversial. I understand that some people have seen some weird stuff within that King Charles painting. I liked it. Obviously, Angela liked it. But I understand that some people hated it, because when I put the post up, a lot of people hated it, and I get that. So please don't come for me in the comments, because I actually liked the painting. Okay, I love you all. So peace and love. Okay. So anyway, I'm just gonna sign off now, and I will be back. Hopefully, well, my true crime channel will be going. My first video is going up tomorrow, so don't forget to go across and give that a like and some love, please. But hopefully, I will be back next week as normal. No eye infection where I look like I've been smacked in the eyes. So yeah, so love to you all and have a great weekend. Bye bye.
So I hope that you enjoyed this interview, and I know I did. It was lovely talking to her. Obviously, there were some bits that I've had to edit out because she didn't want them to go live, because obviously I was asking her some questions, but that's you know, I want to be respectful to her as a journalist. You know, at the end of the day, she's got her job to do, I've got mine. So I'm going to leave this here. So in the meantime, if you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, then please think about doing so, because it does help future uploads. If you would like to treat me to a cuppa because you are enjoying what I do here in also providing free therapy for the people who struggle financially, then you can click on the more button, not more button, the more on my description box, or you can go to above the subscribe button and there you'll see the little yellow icon. You can join me over on Instagram. You can join me over on Rumble. I'm also on TikTok as well if you are over there. You can also send me something via my PO box. Yeah, so that being said, anything else that you need to know, you can always email me. And I will see you in the next video. As always, take care, and I love you, I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Take care. Bye-bye.